At this place in history, we're at the Proctor Maple Research Center, not only because it's the start of sugaring season, but because the center here is celebrating 75 years. Now, Steve, this place stands out. Can you tell us why?
Absolutely. Well, this is the oldest Maple Research Center, I guess, in the world. There's only two others, one in northern New York and one in Canada. So we're going to go talk to Dr. Tim Perkins, who's the director of the Maple Research Center, the Proctor Maple Research Center, and he's going to walk us through the process and also talk about some of the history of this place, but also the really great work that they're doing to promote the industry and the science of maple production.
So, Tim, why don't we start by explaining where we are? I see beakers and test tubes. Let's start there.
This particular space, we do a lot of setup for various experiments that we're doing on maple trees, maple syrup, and trying to understand the process and the chemistry and quality of maple syrup.
What I'm curious about is the Proctor Maple Research Center in its early days. And if I'm correct, it was a farm in the beginning.
It was. Originally, this was the Harvey farm for many, many years, and they had a sugaring operation here. But in the 1940s, the governor was convinced that the university should have its own research station dedicated to maple. UVM had been doing research on maple trees for many, many years, way back into the 1800s. But the governor thought that it would be advantageous for Vermont to have its own research station.
To be clear, the governor himself bought the land.
The governor did. He was a man of means, and he purchased the land and donated it to the university in 1946. 1947 was the first year of research collection and production of maple syrup by the university here. So this is our 75th season of research and production.
Back in the day, were processes different than they are today?
They were. 75 years ago when this place was started, they would have had a spout that was much bigger. They would have had a hole that was far deeper, and they would have been using a bucket. Now we're using a very, very small tap hole, a shallow tap hole, and vacuum. That's really the key difference. With vacuum, we can double the yield, the amount of sap we're getting from a tree, by using excellent sanitation practices. So for us, that means a new spout each year. We can increase that the yield again by another 50%. So all these little things we're doing is trying to find the optimal techniques to produce the best yields while making sure that it's still sustainable. 50 years ago, we might have expected somewhere between 2/10 and a quarter of a gallon of maple syrup per tap. Our long-term record here is 6/10 of a gallon per tap. So we're doing triple what they did 50 years ago.
How long does it take to create that final product?
If you're boiling sap, then it will be many, many hours. If we're starting with sap that has been concentrated through reverse osmosis, we can cut that down by 75% or more. This particular facility is set up to compare different methods of processing sap into maple syrup.
So a question very close to most Vermonters' heart is taste of syrup. You're saying that also in this facility, tasting happens. What does that mean? And it sounds very interesting to me.
Yeah, we do a lot of taste studies after we've done the production of the syrup to look at whether or not the quality and the flavor has changed. So for us, when we compare two different things like reverse osmosis, we will then assemble a taste panel of 20 to 30 individuals, typically who know the flavor of maple and are very experienced with it.
Well, that's a panel I definitely want to be on. That would be really tasty.
At this place in history.